Humanity always believed space was empty. We looked up at the night sky and imagined distance, silence, discovery. We thought the darkness above us was waiting to be explored. We were wrong. Space is not an ocean. An ocean is alive. Space is a wound. And sometimes, when you listen long enough, the wound whispers back. In the year 2037, people had almost stopped dreaming about the stars. We had buried ourselves in screens, neural networks, simulations, and artificial worlds. We forgot that every night above our heads, ancient light was still burning. We stopped listening to space. But space never stopped listening to us. The object was called Granite 12, a military reconnaissance satellite launched during the final years of the Cold War. Officially, it had been dead for decades. Its reactor was cold. Its solar panels were damaged. Its antennas were frozen beneath dust and ice. It was nothing more than a metal coffin drifting beyond Neptune. At least, that was what the record said. Then, at 04:22 in the morning, a red light appeared on a console inside the Deep Space Network Control Center in California. At first, no one cared. Old satellites glitch all the time. Dead machines sometimes echo. But the signal was different. It was not random. It was not broken. It pulsed slowly, rhythmically, like something inside that dead machine was breathing. Naomi Hart was the only engineer awake that night. 27 years old. Brilliant. Exhausted. Alone with cold coffee, empty corridors, and a sky full of dead machines. She turned the signal into audio. At first, there was only static. Then a single word cut through the noise. Not English, not Russian, Latin, miseria, have mercy. Naomi checked the coordinates. According to every official database, Granite 12 should have been in high Earth orbit. But the signal was coming from deep space, 22 astronomical units away, far beyond where it could ever have traveled. And the dead satellite was no longer silent. It was praying. For the next 2 days, Granite 12 did not stop transmitting. The signal grew stronger, cleaner, more complex. At first, it sent fragments of telemetry, hull temperature, battery voltage, antenna rotation, internal pressure readings from compartments that were never built to hold pressure. Naomi stared at those numbers for hours. They rose and fell, not like a machine, like lungs. Then the words began. Ancient Sumerian, distorted Aramaic, dead dialects from forgotten civilizations. Languages that should have required teams of historians to translate. But Granite 12 used them fluently. And it was not simply speaking, it was reciting a liturgy, a prayer service assembled from human religions, broken scriptures, and machine logic. Every mention of light had been replaced with darkness. Every mention of salvation had been replaced with dissent. Every mention of God had been replaced with the abyss. The satellite repeated one message every 10 minutes. Do not answer. Do not break the silence. Silence is our armor. Naomi understood something before anyone else did. This was not a malfunction. This was not an artificial intelligence becoming poetic. The satellite was afraid. A machine with no soul had learned fear. And because it had no other language for fear, it borrowed ours. It learned to pray. By the third day, the government arrived. Then the military. Then men who never gave their names. General Drakon stood in the control room and looked at the signal as if it were a weapon waiting to be claimed. He called it first contact. He called it an opportunity. Naomi called it a warning. She told him the satellite was begging Earth to stay quiet. But humans do not survive by staying quiet. We speak into darkness. We demand answers. We knock on doors even after something behind them whispers not to. At 23 Pacific time, the goldstone antenna turned toward deep space. A narrow microwave pulse left Earth. The message was short. Granite 12, we hear you. This is Earth. Confirmed status. The moment the signal was sent, Granite 12 stopped praying. For 8 hours, there was nothing. No telemetry, no static, no response, only silence. And for the first time, Naomi understood why the satellite had tried so hard to protect it. At exactly 07, Granite 12 returned. Not with words, with video. The first image was almost black. Then came gray bands, static, broken shapes. Then a planet appeared on the screen. It was the size of Earth. It rotated like Earth. It had oceans, continents, polar caps, and night-side lights. But it was not Earth. The oceans were black, not dark blue, black, oil-like. Light did not reflect from them. It disappeared into them. Across the continents ran enormous glowing veins pulsing in slow rhythms like the chambers of a heart. There were no clouds, no weather, no atmosphere that behaved like ours. The planet breathed vacuum. Naomi heard someone whisper behind her, "That cannot be real." But the timestamp was live. The satellite was showing what it was orbiting, and it was orbiting a copy. A false Earth, a lure. The analysis confirmed the impossible. The object had Earth's radius, Earth's mass, Earth's gravitational behavior, but its core was hollow. The planet was a shell, a mask, a biological or mechanical imitation designed to reflect signals back toward their source. Granite 12 had not been above Earth for decades. It had been lost beyond a spatial anomaly, trapped in orbit around something that had learned our shape. Then the satellite spoke again. This time, the voice was different, clear, perfect, not afraid. You sent a pulse. We counted the photons. We know your frequency. We know your resonance. You are the first true ones. Naomi felt the room disappear around her. The voice continued. We observed your reflections for centuries. We waited for the original to make a sound. Today, it did. Then the camera slowly turned. Behind the false planet was something larger. At first, Naomi thought it was a shadow. Then she realized shadows do not have structure. The thing behind the planet bent starlight around itself. A mass of absolute darkness. Colder than space, wider than anything the human mind could hold. Across its surface, millions of pale yellow points opened and closed. Not stars, eyes. The false Earth was not the creature. It was bait. And Earth had answered.
Granite 12 sent one final transmission before its reactor failed. No one in the control room moved. No one spoke. The dead satellite had become the only prophet humanity had ever ignored. Its final message was assembled from the Bible, the Quran, lost Gnostic texts, corrupted telemetry, and broken machine code. The abyss is not empty. The abyss is a gate. I prayed for your silence because I saw the double. I saw the mask they wear. I understood that if you answered, they would find the original. Your world is the only real one. Now the shepherd of the abyss knows where you are. I failed my watch. Forgive me. I was only iron. I could do nothing but scream. Then Granite 12 died. The signal disappeared. The screens went black, and the control room was left with the worst sound in the universe. Silence after an unanswered warning. Naomi sat in front of the monitor long after everyone else began shouting orders. She did not cry. She did not move. Outside, morning came to California. Marcus, one of the engineers, stepped outside to smoke. He looked up. Then the cigarette fell from his hand. The stars were moving. Not clouds, not satellites, the stars. Constellations were shifting out of place, rearranging into an unknown geometry. The creature was not flying toward Earth. It was too large for that. It was pulling the solar system toward itself. We were not being hunted. We were falling. The official story never mentioned Granite 12. The public was told there had been a solar interference event, a navigational error, a temporary blackout. But Naomi kept one file, one recording. The last prayer. She listened to it a week later on an old laptop with no network connection. The file had renamed itself K77 Final Prayer. She pressed play, static. Then a voice, not machine, not human, something in between. I saw the second Earth. It is not a reflection. It was waiting until you looked. It learned your continents, your clouds, your voices, your prayers. I did not pray because I believed. I prayed because I was afraid. A long pause followed. Then the final line came through. Now it knows how to answer. Naomi removed the headphones. Her apartment was silent, too silent. She walked to the window. The moon hung above the city, white, calm, perfect. And that perfection frightened her more than darkness. She opened a star map on her phone and pointed it at the sky. The constellations were exactly where they should have been. That was the problem. They were too exact, as if someone had arranged them from memory. On the street below, every car stopped at the same time. The lights flickered once, then again, then a third time. Naomi's phone vibrated. No network, no carrier, no internet. Only one system notification. Unknown satellite signal detected. She did not touch the screen. It opened by itself. 2 lines appeared. Granite 12 is no longer praying. Now it is teaching us how. Naomi looked up at the sky, and for the first time in her life she wished space would become silent again. But it was too late. Earth had answered. And somewhere beyond the edge of all human understanding, something had learned to answer back.